Hey, beautiful. This is your host, Fonda Clayton. Thank you for being here today. I've got a juicy podcast here for you. The blog post I'm looking at is called Decision Making. Now, decision making is a really funny thing, right? Especially when we tend to say, I don't know. And I don't know isn't a decision, it's actually a deflection. And when we don't decide, it keeps us kind of captive because it stays in the mind as something to decide on or something kind of looming over your head because you haven't taken the time to decide. I heard it said, I think in the program Access Consciousness, if you have an opportunity to get your hands on or listen to anything from Access Consciousness, you need to go and get it because it's the strength of asking questions. We come to conclusion a lot of time. And that sounds contradictory, right? Because I'm talking about coming to a conclusion. That's what a decision is. It means to cut off. But the great juicy thing about Access Consciousness is that you can make a decision for 10 seconds. You could do anything for 10 seconds is the thought process. Imagine that you are asked if you can go take somebody somewhere. You know automatically, immediately, if you want to or not. You are just now, if you don't answer right away, you're mulling it over and thinking about the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses of who is going to feel a certain kind of way if you don't go and do this thing. But how much time would you save if you just decided, yes or no, I'm going to do this thing? Give yourself the room to change your mind if you want to or need to. And then it wouldn't loom over your head. And then the person that's doing the asking can now make other arrangements. There is no real room to feel bad because feeling bad is what makes us feel obligated. And what feels like an obligation is the thing that weighs you down and makes you feel overwhelmed and tired. And then you're not even doing the things that you've planned to do for your day. I'm sure you got a long list of things to do, but the fact that you're listening to me, I love it like I cook food. I'm just tell you that from the onset. You know, I say that at the end, but I do. I really do. So let's get into the meat of the blog post and let's see what happens. Have you ever wondered how some people make decision making look so easy? The person that I was imaginative and creative and playful, sensitive and very loving. There's a photograph of me on the actual original blog post. In an effort to prepare me for life, I was convinced by my father and my teachers that creativity wouldn't get me very far in life. At the age of 8, I became a latchkey kid in New York City and had to take care of my kid brother, get my homework done, and semi-prep dinner while my parents worked. But my circumstances dictated that I be responsible not only for myself, but another, and there was little time for play. I was a serious kid. I had to make decisions on my own and hope I was doing the best thing for me and my brother. If someone did something I didn't want to do, I was fine with going off by myself. After a certain point, I saw no benefit in talking anything into the ground. I simply ignored the person and did my own thing. If I were a boy, I would have been called strong-willed or confident, but since I was not, I was labeled stubborn. Life was simpler as a kid than as an adult. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I have to put out a search warrant to find that little girl inside me in order to remember my knowing. As a little girl, I had this uncanny ability to say no. And by little girl, I mean up until I was about 18 or 19. On my high school on my senior t-shirt, you have people sign your t-shirt and good luck and blah blah blah. I was deemed the queen of no. I could tell you no in a heartbeat. And somewhere about 19, dated my first real boyfriend. I lost that somehow. And it became important to kind of fit in and to fit into the mold. And that I have spent some time undoing that, because my truth is somewhere in that little girl that I was. And I look more and more to her for her guidance and direction, because she saves me a lot of time. So when I find her, she is always chilling in the cut, solid in who she is. So I offer to you, reflect on a time in your life when you showed up for yourself. And if you don't recall a time when that ever has happened for you, I want you to imagine it. So think about a cartoon or a comic strip or a person in a character in a book, or your best friend or your cousin or someone, imagined or real, and pretend to be her. And what would she do? And what would she say? And how would she react? And how would she be guiltless in delivering her answer? And just pretend for a while if you need to. Tap into that genius of you and know, no matter what it looks like now, that little person still exists or is somewhere in there in you. Here are a few things to keep you on track with your decision making. 1, pretend to be that earlier person standing in front of you and ask her what she would do or say. 2, state your truth without explanation, as long as it isn't doing any harm to anyone, including yourself, because no amount of words are going to get them to, air quotes, get it. People have their own personal agenda, and there's no need to take it personally. So do whatever makes you happiest and the most peaceful. You fill in the blank. And 3, yes, without explanation or guilt. It is done. Allow it to remain done. Stay present and feel good about your decision. I also offer you to turn away, turn off from people, places, and things that don't make you feel good, including sometimes and especially the machine called social media. Life is supposed to be fun. It is the most fun when it is simple. If it feels like life is throwing too many things at you and like they're throwing rotten tomatoes at you, I need you to reassess what is the most important thing to you, for you. And there is the truth. There are the nuggets that await you. Because we just don't have the time or the luxury to mend and be with other people. Because if a person wants you to make a decision, and you are the person that they go to because you usually say yes, they already have in their head that you've said yes, and they're not even really listening to your justification. So just screw it. Just say no. I can't. I know you're going to want to give an explanation, but don't. Because they are going to be quiet long enough to listen for a way of them getting what they originally wanted from you in the first place, which gets you further away from what you're wanting to do, is the fact that you just don't want to do it. You got other things to do. You want to go and scratch and sit and eat popcorn and watch television, whatever it is. You've got your own life. You've got your own agenda, and you should be free to do it. Let me know how it goes. You should come over to the group, facebook.com/groups/powerfilled woman. That's all one word. And join the group and join the conversation, because over there, that's where we are having the conversation of who to decide to be for ourselves personally. It's not a collective agreement. But the importance of being witnessed by other women is very, it's a very juicy, nurturing thing. You're being witnessed, but they're not sitting in judgment of you. There is a difference, and you'll get a chance to really see that and appreciate that once you're in the group. So I'd love to have you there. And until then, I love you like cook food. Ciao.